Long before the arrival of Europeans, Brazil was a land teeming with life and culture. Diverse indigenous tribes, each with their own unique customs and traditions, thrived in the rainforests, along the coasts, and by the rivers. These were the first Brazilians, skilled hunters, fishermen, and farmers. They lived in harmony with nature. Their lives were intertwined with the rhythms of the land. These early inhabitants left their mark on the land in countless ways, from intricate pottery and tools, to sophisticated social structures and belief systems. Sadly, much of their history was lost or remains hidden. This is due to the lack of written records and the devastating impact of European colonization. One of the largest and most influential indigenous groups was the Tupi-Guarani. They were spread across much of what is now Brazil. Their language and culture left a lasting legacy. Evidence of their presence can still be seen today. This exists in place names, borrowed words, and cultural practices that have survived centuries of change. Despite facing immense challenges and hardships, the indigenous peoples of Brazil persevered. Their resilience and adaptability are a testament to the human spirit. Their story is an integral part of understanding the rich tapestry of Brazilian history. It is a reminder of the importance of respecting and preserving cultural diversity. The year 1500 marked a turning point in Brazilian history. It was the year Portuguese explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral, on a mission to India, landed on the shores of what is now Brazil. This momentous event would forever alter the course of the country. It initiated a new era of colonialism, conquest, and cultural exchange. Cabral claimed the land for Portugal, unaware of the vastness and richness of the territory he had stumbled upon. The arrival of the Portuguese set in motion a series of events that would have profound and lasting consequences for Brazil. This included the displacement and enslavement of indigenous populations, the introduction of new diseases, and the imposition of European culture and religion. The Treaty of Tordesillas, signed between Portugal and Spain in 1494, played a crucial role in shaping the early colonial landscape of South America. This treaty divided the New World between the two European powers. It granted Portugal control over a significant portion of South America, including the territory that would become Brazil. The arrival of the Portuguese marked the beginning of a complex and often brutal period in Brazilian history. It was a time of both great opportunity and immense suffering. The encounter between two vastly different cultures, worlds apart in their beliefs, values, and ways of life, would have far-reaching implications for the future of Brazil. The early years of Portuguese colonization in Brazil were marked by a search for wealth and resources. Brazilwood, a valuable dyewood, was initially the main attraction, giving the country its name. However, it was the discovery of another commodity that would truly transform Brazil into a colonial powerhouse: sugar. Sugarcane cultivation, introduced by the Portuguese in the 16th century, quickly became the backbone of the Brazilian economy. Vast plantations known as engenhos sprang up along the fertile coastal regions, particularly in the northeast. The demand for sugar in Europe was insatiable, fueling a lucrative trade that brought immense wealth to the Portuguese crown and to plantation owners. This newfound prosperity, however, came at a terrible human cost. The sugar plantations required a massive labor force, and the Portuguese turned to the transatlantic slave trade to meet this demand. Millions of Africans were forcibly transported across the Atlantic in horrific conditions, enduring unimaginable suffering and brutality. The slave trade left an indelible scar on Brazilian society. It shaped the country's demographics, culture, and social structure. The legacy of slavery continues to be felt today in the form of racial inequality, discrimination, and the struggle for social justice. By the 19th century, the winds of change were sweeping across the Americas. The American and French revolutions had ignited a desire for independence and self-determination. In Brazil, dissatisfaction with Portuguese rule was growing, fueled by economic grievances, social unrest, and a burgeoning sense of national identity. The year 1808 proved to be a pivotal moment in Brazilian history. Napoleon Bonaparte's invasion of Portugal forced the Portuguese royal family to flee to their colony of Brazil. King John VI and his court established themselves in Rio de Janeiro, elevating Brazil's status within the Portuguese Empire. The presence of the Portuguese court in Rio de Janeiro had a profound impact on Brazilian society. It led to economic and cultural transformations. New institutions were established, and the city flourished. However, the seeds of independence had been sown. In 1822, Prince Pedro, son of King John VI, defied his father's orders to return to Portugal. Instead, on the banks of the Ipiranga River in São Paulo, he declared Brazil's independence, uttering the famous words, "Independence or death." This bold act marked the birth of a new nation, and the beginning of a new chapter in Brazilian history. Section 5. The Empire of Brazil, a time of progress and upheaval. With the Declaration of Independence, Brazil embarked on a new era as a constitutional monarchy under the rule of Emperor Pedro I. The transition, however, was not without its challenges. The young nation grappled with internal divisions, political instability, and external threats. Pedro I's reign was marked by both progress and turmoil. He oversaw the creation of a new constitution, the establishment of important institutions, and the consolidation of Brazilian independence. However, his authoritarian tendencies and conflicts with the legislature led to growing discontent. One of the most significant events during this period was the Cisplatin War, from 1825 to 1828, a conflict with the neighboring province of Cisplatina, which sought independence from Brazil. The war resulted in the creation of Uruguay as an independent nation, a significant loss for Brazil. Facing mounting pressure and political instability, Pedro I abdicated the throne in 1831 in favor of his 5-year-old son, Pedro II. This marked the beginning of a long regency period, during which Brazil was ruled by regents until Pedro II came of age. Section 6. From Empire to Republic, a time of change. The reign of Pedro II, which began in 1840, ushered in a period of relative stability and progress for Brazil. Known as a benevolent and intellectual ruler, Pedro II oversaw a time of economic growth, modernization, and cultural achievements. He invested in education, infrastructure, and the arts, earning the respect of many Brazilians and international recognition. Despite the progress made during Pedro II's reign, the empire faced growing challenges. The abolition of slavery in 1888, while a momentous achievement, had significant economic and social repercussions. Plantation owners, who had long benefited from slave labor, resented the loss of their workforce and sought compensation from the government. The abolition of slavery also fueled the rise of republicanism in Brazil. Many Republicans viewed the monarchy as an outdated institution, incompatible with the ideals of progress and equality. They advocated for a more modern and representative form of government. In 1889, a bloodless military coup d'état deposed Pedro II, bringing an end to the Brazilian Empire. The monarchy was replaced with a republic, marking a pivotal moment in Brazilian history. This transition from empire to republic reflected broader changes taking place in Brazilian society, including the rise of new social groups, the growth of urban centers, and the increasing influence of positivist ideals.